Hey YouTube, what's going on? So I got to thinking about it. I've added some pretty cool stuff here recently, like this and many other detailed castings. So I thought I would make a video on my top 20. It ended up being 21. So these are the 21 castings I have in my collection that if I could only pick 21 and had to get rid of the rest, these are the 21 I would keep. Starting with this Datsun 510 from Greenlight with the red Brock Racing livery. Little custom wheel swap there. This would definitely make the cut. This would probably be in my top 10. The original Auto World DeVille release in black definitely be in my top 21. This car here. And with this car, if not the ultra red, it would be another color. Probably a lighter color, maybe the silver, or maybe the black. I don't know. The black one looks amazing too. I love this casting. So one of them would for sure be in my top 21. These are my two favorite Auto World cars right here. The DeVille and the Mach 1. I also do like the El Dorado quite a bit and the Roadrunner. Those would be my top 4. This one here, this would make the top 10 for a couple of reasons. Probably mainly because of its scarcity. It's a really hard piece to find. It's a Greenlight release, but the tooling came from High Speed. And I think Malibu might have had it as well. But Greenlight didn't have it long. They only released this one time, and this is it. It's a very early release, so and I like these premium detailed SUVs. Even though this one is plastic tires, painted headlights and taillights, it's still a really nice finish and a nice looking car. This would make it, and makes no difference to me if it's the silver one or the red one. They both look very good in my opinion, but I do tend to lean towards the silver. And then this would make it, but I'll say the first time they released this with the Baja lifted suspension and a civilian deco, that car will replace this one. I like the Baja version of this because of the stance and everything. It was almost kind of tough for me to pick between this one and that one, but if I'm going to err on the side of the deco, it's always going to be the civilian deco. This car here, of all my Kyosho Ferraris, this is my favorite here. Well, let's see here. The Kyosho FJ Cruiser. I love premium detailed 4x4s. So that would be in there. The Greenlight Mercury Marauder. Now, with this car, it's mainly the civilian deco. Greenlight doesn't release this very often with a civilian deco. In fact, I don't think that they'll ever release the Marauder again. But to me, that's not what's important. This could be a Crown Vic with this deco, and it would still be on the list here. But you can see there the Mercury. Early on, they did release quite a few of the Marauders. but it's the same exact tooling as the Crown Vic. But to me, it's just about this body style with the civilian deco. As far as Greenlight Fox bodies go, this is the one for me. I know most people like um, the white and blue one or some of the other ones better, but to me, this is the one right here. Silver is just the right color. It just shows every line of the car. It shows the stance. Everything just comes out with the silver. Plus, this is an early build for Greenlight. This was, gosh, I don't know. It was probably around 2011, 2010 maybe. And that was before they moved factories, so it has a green post, so it's a very good build quality. And then coming over here, this one makes its way in. Mainly because I love the hardtop and I love this vintage Toyota deco. This red, orange, and yellow TRD graphic with the safari rack. It's just a killer looking Toyota. The Bronco would make it not because of the cool factor of the safari rack, but because of the lift. When you get this car, or truck rather, from Racing Champs, the wheels and tires and the stance are awful. But if you pull those axles off, give it a little bit of a lift with some nice Greenlight off-road wheels and tires, it makes it look very, very good. It looks like basically just a bone stock Bronco with, in this case, what looks to be a scaled 6-inch lift. So that one makes my list. The Toyota Starlet here is going to make the list for a couple of reasons. It's the only Toyota Starlet ever produced in 1:64 scale that I know of. There might have been another brand like Majorette or somebody like that did one back in the 80s or some. I don't know. There could be one out there. But this is the only premium detailed true 1/64 scale version that's out there. So I really dig this car. Plus, this is probably the most valuable car in my collection. But I don't have a lot of valuable castings. That's not what I'm about. That's not why I collect. I just collect realistic replicas is what I try to go for. High level of detail and a high level of replication. Those are kind of my criteria there. So, although this 260 2+2, this could possibly be the most valuable car in my collection as well. I think this one is somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 to 100, somewhere in there. And the Toyota Starlet's actually going to be closer to the $50 range. You might even be able to find it a little bit less than that. For a while there, it was 70 to 80. And then when it started selling for that price, a couple of them popped up on eBay, which brought the price down a little bit. But this silver, the Silver Z, is not on eBay very often, so it's pretty expensive. That goes same for this M2 truck. It's not on eBay, and if I'd have known that, I could have bought 10 or 12 of these things when it came out. Now, when it came out, it wasn't on this lifted suspension, so the original M2 release was the two-wheel drive truck with the lowered two-wheel drive suspension. But basically, when they released this casting on a lifted suspension, the first thing I did was I bought it so I could put the base on this truck. So I really dig this. It's actually climbed in price quite a bit too. The Kyosho Bentley, that's a showstopper and arguably top 3 to 5 nicest model replicas in my collection. Right up there with this oversteer Toyota CHR. This car here is the most uh, detailed in my collection. It's the best combination of build quality and replication accuracy. That's why I would put this as at number 1 in my collection as far as execution goes. The Explorer it's on the list because I just like it. I think that's a really nice representation of a Ford Explorer. It's a very realistic looking casting. And some of these made the list just based on how realistic they look. And this is one of them. Plus, this one is also kind of tough to find. A lot easier than some of the others. But like this one here, you can find on eBay. But it's not as easy as you would think. The Type R, another awesome Tomica limited vintage casting. And that's just a really nice model there too. I had to put this one on the list. TLV doesn't do late model cars all that often, so when they do cars like that and cars like this, I gotta try to get them. And then also the Kyosho Mercedes G-Class. And that rounds it out. I think that's all of them. That would be my top 21 castings. This is subject to change, though. It changes all the time. But there is a group of these that are cars that will always be on that list. The Toyota Starlet and that 260Z. Those will always be on the list. That silver Mustang will always be on the list. And more than likely, the 512 BBI will always be on the list. But nice assortment of cars. And if you guys haven't seen the previous video, I finally got the river poured on that layout. So it's going to take probably a couple days to cure. Then I got to put the ripples on the water, and I got to paint the white caps on it. Not that there'll be a lot of those, but there will be some. And then I've got to just add the trees and do some other detailing. But once I get the ripples on the water, on the surface, that's going to probably put that at 90%. 90% to completion. So we're getting there. And once that one is done, it's going to be the primary layout used for videos for a while. I just find that I get bored with these layouts like way too quickly. When I finished with this one, I didn't think I'd ever get bored with it, just because it's a little more intricate than anything else that I've done. But after a month, I was like ready to move on. I think part of it, though, was that I started on the other one, and just from where I got before pouring the resin, I was liking the progress on that a lot better than this. I used a couple different shades of dirt, I don't know. I did things that I think got a more realistic look than this one did. So, but I'll hold on to this one though, at least for now, and then I'll finish that one up. And then once that one's finished, then my goal is going to be the car dealership, which instead of utilizing the Tomoka-rama, which I know a lot of you want to see me do that, but I think what I'm going to do instead is I'll use that as a reference on how to lay out the lot. But this is going to be the building that I use. It's an HO scale used car dealership building. But this is what I'm going to use. I think I can get a more realistic result than with that Tomoka-rama. Plus, I'll have more freedom to do more things that I want to do with the dealership. I know this was the dealership at one point. I did a couple videos on it. It was just a test layout. But I did get some pretty good ideas from that I can use on for when I do the final layout. Because, the big thing is with these layouts, I haven't done anything urban. So I haven't done sidewalks. I haven't done paved parking lots, stuff like that. Those shouldn't be too hard. They're not too much different than paved roads, but sidewalks is going to be a whole new deal for me. And this sidewalk here didn't come out as well as I would have liked. But at least it's practice. And I know next time I do it, I have a much better idea of how I'm going to do it. So, anyway, so that's where I'm at with that. And that's something, it's not going to be high on my priority list. Once I get the river finished, there's a couple other things that I have to do, a couple other life things that I have to get done. And then once those are done, then I can start on the car dealership. It's not going to be something that I feel like I need to rush to do. However, I would like to get that done before it starts hitting 100 degrees here, which is usually around late April or May. So, but I think that would be ideal to have 3 different layouts to use to do the videos. Maybe 4. I would consider a 4th if I can get a nice HO scale house. Then I would consider doing a 4th, or maybe doing a 4th and incorporating multiple HO scale buildings. Another thing too, before I wrap this up, just to mention, because I had some interesting comments tonight on the last video that I posted about the river. I know it's only a small number of you out there that are interested in doing these layouts. And in any of the videos that I've done that show or that talk about how to do these things, how to apply the dirt, how to apply the grass, how to make the roads, all these kinds of things. Also, when I did the bridge, I talked a little bit about scale. Understand that these cars are 1:64 scale, and the dioramas that I make are mostly built to HO scale, and they're very different. So I don't want to misrepresent my layouts as HO scale. When I finished this layout, I told you guys in a video that this layout combines HO scale with S scale. Hot Wheels are 1:64th. And HO scale is 1:87th. So this building here is a 1:87th scale building. But it works for S scale. The gas pumps are proportionately sized with the 1:64 scale cars. as is the garage, as is the building. It's also all proportionately sized with the scale people that we get from Greenlight. So it works. Some of these buildings are interchangeable. A lot of them are not. So if you buy an HO scale building to use on a layout that you're going to build for Hot Wheels, you have to be careful about that because not all HO scale buildings work. The reason that I do that is because model trains HO scale is by far the most popular, and it's the only scale that you can find whatever you want to find with relative ease. So, for example, if you want an HO scale dumpster, like a 3-yard dumpster, you can find it no problem. Try finding an S scale. You're not going to find an S scale. You're not going to find an S scale gas station unless you buy one of the Greenlights, which are horrible. They're awful. For what they are, they're actually really cool. But for a layout like this, they would not work. They're not detailed enough. So that's why I incorporate the HO with the S scale. But just know that these are not HO scale cars. The layout itself with the road and the building and the parking, the little dirt lot and everything, and the bridge, all of this is interchangeable. It'll work for HO or S scale. Just to give you some relativity or relative comparison, the overpass lies 3 inches above the road. 3 inches is 16 scale feet in HO scale. Now, 16 feet, actually, it's 3 inches, I think, in S scale. I might get these backwards, but 16 scale feet in, I think it's S scale, is 3 inches. And then in HO scale, 16 scale feet is 2 3/4 inches. So that's roughly the difference. Now, the overpass here is 3 inches above the road. So the overpass is S scale, but the building here is HO scale. So there's a little bit of both, but they're close enough that they can work together. And it's not like out of the realm of possibilities to have an overpass that's a little bit higher than 16 feet. So, it's not, if it's 18 or 19 feet, that's not really a stretch. So just things to keep in mind, because I don't like being told that I'm ruining the hobby by referencing my layouts as HO scale. Is what I was told in a comment. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's all about, but before you start a layout, do research, do a lot of research so that you know these things ahead of time, so that you're not running into problems later. You shouldn't run into problems later anyways. If you make a layout and you're making it for your cars, you're going to make it to fit the size of the cars, regardless of what scale they are or what scale HO is and all that stuff. All that stuff isn't going to matter because your objective is going to be that it accommodates the cars that you're going to use on it. Everything else is going to come secondary to that. So, yeah, I don't know. But whatever. So, if you have any questions, if anybody has any questions about layouts, just ask. But I'm not going to... Someone did ask me to tell them how to make one of these. I'm not going to do that. There's just way too much involved. And we all start somewhere. I started somewhere. You got to go onto YouTube and you just have to watch videos. I would say start at Luke Towan. Now, if you have questions about what materials to use, I can help you with that because that's going to make the biggest impact on your end result. Is the materials that you use. will be more impactful on your end result than your skill level. So it's definitely important to use the right stuff. But all right, I'm going to end it on that. And yous all have a good night. I don't have any plans in the next 4 or 5 days of getting anything, so don't be surprised if you don't hear from me for a week or so. But yeah, y'all take care. Have a good Monday.